All the saints of God said amen. Amen again. And if you love the Lord, come on and say amen one more. Amen. How blessed we are to be here in the house of the Lord once again. I am just delighted and excited to be here with my friend and my brother, Pastor Craig D. Collier. Amen. Come on, let's bless the Lord for Pastor Collier. Amen. And for First Lady Collier. Amen. And First Family Collier. Amen. Thank God for each and every one of them. And then we thank God for all these preachers and pastors that are here today. Pastor Collier's pastor, amen. God bless to him and all of these ministries that are here. And all of you, my father's children, we are just delighted to be here with you on this 139th church anniversary. Amen. Again, what makes today so special is that it's not just church anniversary, but groundbreaking. Amen. And you ought to be excited about that. Amen. We're just glad to be here and to be a part of this great and gracious celebration. Now, I've got to do one thing before I get into this message. There's one order of business that I got to set straight here today. Now, Pastor Collier said that this is his second church. He's a member there. And so I guess we got to add him to the roll. But if he's going to be a member there, I got to be a member here. I need to know if y'all will accept me as a member of that. Amen. All right. So now I have a second church home as well. Amen. Amen. So we are delighted. We're just happy to be here with y'all. And we certainly wish you many, many more years of celebration. We are just glad to see how God is blessing you here in the city of Jacksonville. Amen. We are just so delighted to be a part of this gracious and great celebration. Well, there is the word from the Lord. Go with me to the book of Mark. Mark chapter 2. Book of Mark chapter 2. Mark chapter 2, and I'm going to begin reading at verse number 1. Mark chapter 2, beginning at verse number 1, and there you will find these words. And again he entered into Capernaum after some days, and it was noised that he was in the house. And that's what I want to talk about here for a little while here today. And I want to talk to you from this topic, when Jesus is in the house. When Jesus is in the house. A few years ago, at the Parade of Roses, there was a float that had already received the highest honor as the most beautiful float in the parade. This float was adorned with flowers, and there were many all standing around this float, and banners and colors, and everything about this float was perfect. The story said that as this float came out of the garage and entered its place in the parade, people just began to look at it in awe. Right. This float began its journey down the road. As it went down, people just followed this float down the street, just glowing at the beauty of this float. On the front of this float, they had already pinned the blue ribbon to let everyone know that this was the award-winning float. All right. But about a quarter mile down the track, we find that this beautiful float all of a sudden came to a stop. And everybody wondered what had happened to this most beautiful float. This beautiful float sat there as people began to run out to try and to figure out what was going on with it and why it had all of a sudden stopped. And it was found that this float, in all of its glory and all of its beauty, had run out of gas. It was an embarrassment because this float was owned by one of the largest oil companies in the nation. And all of a sudden, the beauty of this float became a mockery because everyone looked at this float and wondered how in the world could this beautiful float owned by one of the largest oil companies in the nation find itself here run out of gas. Oh, what an embarrassment it was for the companies. They stood there trying to fill it back up with gas. And it was said by spectators that even when this float began its journey on down the road, that there was just something missing. It lost a lot because people had such high expectations of this float. Yes, sir. My brothers and sisters, I believe that this story goes to show us something that so tragically happens all of the time. Yeah. Many times, us as Christians, we look good, but we neglect a lot of times the essential things that need to go on the inside. It was found that when they built this float, they put so much time into decorating the outside that they failed to remember to fill the gas tank. All my brothers and sisters, so many times with us as Christians, we put so much emphasis on making the outside look good until we fail to put in the most essential thing. We put so much in making the outside look good, and I believe it is because we are a very impressionable people. And we like to give impressions, and we love first impressions, and we take so much time trying to impress other folk that many times we fail to put in the most essential things. I thought it not robbery to come to Jacksonville to remind my prisoner that as God blesses you, and as you look forward to building this new sanctuary edifice that you are building, we want to say to you, make sure that you put in the essential. And that essential is Jesus. Oh, it doesn't matter what color the bricks are, or what color the carpet is, or what color the paint is, but make sure that Jesus is in the house. I want to tell you, when Jesus is in the house, everything will be all right. Here in our text today, we have a story that tells us about what happens when Jesus is in the house. When Jesus is in the house, there is something that is just different about how the house is. When Jesus is in the house, there are certain characteristics that the house ought to have. Oh, when Jesus is there, there is just a different feel when Jesus is present. I want to tell you that I have been in some churches that are full of folk but ain't no Jesus. And I've been in some where people are few, but when Jesus is present, I want to tell you that the text said, when 2 or 3 gather in his name, touching and agreeing, I want to tell you he can still be in the midst. And I want to tell you that make sure that Jesus is in the house. But when Jesus is there, there is just something different about the house. And I just believe here in Jacksonville, there are some people who still need some deliverance. I believe there are still some people who still need some prayer every now and then. There are still some who need the Lord every now and then. Oh, I'm just one who is optimistic, and I was telling them the other night at a revival meeting that I believe that there are still some people in this city that God still can save. I believe God still has some good choir members that may be still on street corners. He still may have some good preachers that are still in some back alleys. He still may have some good missionaries that are still on street corners. I don't know about y'all, but I just believe that there's still power in my God. He still got saving power. He still has saving ability. Well, let's look here just a moment here at this text. To just look at a few things that happen when Jesus is in the house. The first thing that I want to lift for you, and it ain't that mean I won't be here long, but the first thing that I lift is that when Jesus is in the house, number one, there is a message. When Jesus is in the house, the first thing that we notice is that when Jesus is in the house, the word was publicized. The text says to us that it was noise that he was in the house. Oh, when Jesus is in the house, the word gets around that Jesus is in that house. Oh, my brothers and sisters, I want to tell you that when Jesus shows up, people cannot help but spread the good news that Jesus is in the house. When Jesus is there in the house, the word starts to get all around. Now, I've been to some workshops recently where they're telling pastors what you have to do to build your house. And they are all types of gimmicks now and all types of things that they will tell you about how to get folk to come to the Lord's house. But I'm from the old school, and I just believe that if the word is preached, I just believe that the word is all that you need. If the word is given, and hear me well, not just given, but given right. See, because what I found about the word is the word will lift you up where you need to be lifted, but it will also bring you down where you need to be brought down. Sometimes the word hits us, and sometimes the word doesn't make us feel good all of the time. Sometimes the word has to find some wrong that's going on in your life, and then it'll find the rights that are going on in your life. And we have to learn how to apply the word to our lives every day. And I tell you that when I have learned how to listen to the word, and what I mean is how to take the good and the bad and put it all together, I have discovered that the word has made me a better person. It has helped me every day of my life. And I just believe here that we ought not look at building up God's house with gimmicks and tricks, but we ought to focus just on the word. I want to tell you that one thing that I keep in mind is because everybody now wants to be a mega. Everybody has a mind of being mega. But one thing that I keep in mind is that God is not looking at the quantity, but he is looking at the quality. He wants quality saints. I want to tell you that if we just focus on the word still has the power. Not only must there be a message that whereby the word is publicized, but then the word has drawing the power. The word is all that we need. If the word is given, the word will find folk wherever they are. And I still believe that people will come for the word. Jesus did not have choirs singing here in the text. He didn't have prayer meeting going on. But the word was being given. And when the word was given, people were drawn to that place. And again, I just believe here that the word still has that power. Not only drawing power, but it has keeping power. The word will keep folk in the Lord's house. The word will keep you there seeking for more and more knowledge. Oh, when we really get in the word, it's amazing how the word blesses us. When we really get into the word, we see how the word makes a change in our lives. The word picks us up every day. The word keeps us strong on this journey. Oh, when I go through my trials of life, singing is good, but if I can get a word from the Lord, everything seems to be a little bit better. If I get a word from the Lord, that word has drowned.
Somebody know he's been good to you. Amen.